I am sorry. I don't know if anyone heard me. I am sorry. I do my podcasts every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I study for each of these podcasts numerous amounts of hours. I am sorry that Monday's show was not up to standard. I have a big expectation of myself. Like, let me give some context here really quick. I got the nickname as a kid, Rain Man, because during middle school and even freshman year of high school, I just kind of always knew sports, right? And I was just like, oh, like someone would talk about a play. Most people could name. Most people can name, a couple. Like obviously, everyone can name the stars on a certain team. Most people can name like big time teams. Like I grew up in California or San Diego more specifically, so everyone can name the Chargers, all their star players, the Raiders, their star players, yada yada. I could probably name every single player on every single team during middle school and high school. Now my schedule's gotten a little more complicated, so I can't do that anymore. But give me 3 days, 2 days, I probably could again. Right? Like I've just always been fascinated with sports. So because of that, most people are just kind of like, oh, he gets sports. He understands it. It comes easy for him, right? Like you always see people that it's like math comes easy to them, science comes easy to them, history comes easy to them. This doesn't come easy to me. This is just something that I have been so infatuated with at such a young age that I spent, probably shouldn't say this, but I mean, she already knows. If I were to do homework, right? Get your homework assignment, come home from school. I'd probably spend maybe 5-10 minutes on my homework at the maximum amount of time. I would probably spend 3 to 4 hours a day on NFL.com, NBA.com, MLB.com, just searching the internet for all these different stories, seeing what's going on, especially with the Broncos. I don't hide that being my favorite team. I just spent so much time on it that it almost became a natural thing. And where people got the perception of, oh, he just gets sports. They make sense to him. That's his thing. That's his passion. So I wasn't alive for it. But if you know the Michael Jordan commercial where he apologizes, he says, I'm sorry if you thought my highlights started at the free throw line, not in the gym. If you thought my passion was in my dunk, not in my workout. I'm paraphrasing here. Don't quote me verbatim. That's how I am with sports. I spend so much time looking up different players, looking up different teams. I'm probably one of the few people you've ever seen that at 13 years old was watching NBA classic games, like the classic 60s Celtics versus Lakers games, if you want to call those classics. They were blowouts for the most part. They weren't really good games. But that's what I did. That's what I enjoyed doing. I loved watching Bill Russell, seeing what all the hype about him was. I loved watching when they would show Magic and Bird. Obviously got a lot of play time because of how historic they are. I loved watching those games. I loved watching the NFL Classic games. I don't have cable anymore, so I don't know if they still show them on NBA TV and NFL Network, but I loved that kind of stuff. I can specifically remember watching the Browns' only playoff game the last 15 years against the Steelers. Yeah, think about that. And I watched that game 2 or 3 times. Monday's show was not good because what I've done my entire life, which is put so much time into sports, put so much time into this passion that I have, I didn't do it. I'll be honest. I did not do it. I spent maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And that was wrong. There is certain aspects of this that are improv, And I'm not going to deny that I've used improv before, but my improv is off of recollection. I can improv a story or an analogy or a reference because I've spent so much time studying it beforehand, reading it beforehand, watching it beforehand. So that's where the improv, there's some things I've improv that you guys would probably never know that I've improved that turned out incredible, really. But you would never know the improv because I was always studying. So I have to apologize about Monday's show. It was not up to my standard. It was not up to, I don't care how many views, how many listens I actually got. It was not up to my standard. Therefore, I should not have done it, nor should I have posted it. I apologize. I listened to, and I'm going to move on to the actual segments for today. I listen to Eric Thomas a lot. Okay. If you know who Eric Thomas is, motivational speaker. I don't give a lot of motivational speakers credit and or time for that matter. I'm a pretty highly motivated person without one. But I give him time. I give him attention. And one of the things that he talks about is give 120% or don't do it. I felt so bad, and I'll post it so you guys will see. I'm not even lying here. Not that he'll ever see it, but I DM'd him on Instagram, and I was like, hey, huge fan, been following you, been listening to you for years. I finally got this podcast started up, doing things. I got on iTunes, got my YouTube account active, and I had a bad show. And I didn't have a bad show because there just wasn't anything to talk about. I had a bad show because I didn't give 120%. And that's not fair. It's not fair to you guys whatsoever. So to anyone who's ever given me a view on YouTube, to anyone who's ever given me a listen on SoundCloud, to anyone who's ever given me a listen on iTunes, I apologize. Monday's show was not good enough, and I will never do that to you guys again.